2021. Somewhere here. Yeah. November 2nd. Yeah. Okay. And today with us in our virtual audience are Abhinandan Das, Gandharva Das, Professor Harsh, Lakshmanagaraja, Raman Reti, Lalita Gopi Devidasi, Namachintamare Devidasi, Rosina, Elena Kanchukoho, Srimacharya Das, Vrishabhananda Devidasi, Ambarish Das. Our live audience are Mitravinda Devidasi, Yugala Kishore Das, Paramakaruna Das, and others. Srinivas, can you be our chief guest?
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. Yes, my pleasure.
Okay. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Gopi Janabalava Girivaradari.
Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari.
Udanandana Braja Janarandana
Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana
Jamuna Tira Vallachari.
Jamuna Tira Vanachari.
Jamuna Tira Vallachari.
Yamuna Tira Vanachari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Radhamadhavastasaki ki jai. Chaitanya Chandradaya Mandir ki jai. Narayanam Namaskrityam
Narayanam Namaskritya
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Naranchaiva Narottamam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Tato Jayam Udiyaraya.
Mudirayet.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. So here we have our PowerPoint show. Okay. Our See You Can PowerPoint.
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
Okay. This is Antya Lila, Caitanya Caritamrita Antya Lila, verse 20, chapter 20, last chapter, verse 12. Chaito darpanamarjanam bhava mahadavagni nirvapanam.
Chetodarpanamarjanam bhava mahadhavagni nirvapanam.
Shreya koirava chandrika vitaranam vidyabadu jivanam.
Shreyakkairavachandrika vitaranam vidyavadhu jivanam.
Anandam buddhi vardhanam pratipadam purnamrita svadanam.
Anandam buddhivardhanam pratipadam purnamritasvadanam.
Sarvatma snapanam param vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam.
Sarvatmasnapanam param vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam.
So can you please chant and we'll respond?
Yes, Guru Maharaj. Cheto darpanamarjanam bhavamahadavagni nirvapanam.
Cheto darpanamarjanam bhavamahadavagni nirvapanam.
Shreyakkairavachandrika vitaranam vidyavadhu jivanam.
Shreyakhayava chandrika vidaranam vidyavadu jivanam.
Anandam buddhivardhanam pratipadam purnamritasvadanam.
Anandam Mudi Vardhanam Pratipadam Purnamrita Svadanam.
Sarvatma snapanam param vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam.
Natma Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. One of the ladies in our electronic audience, one of the electronic ladies.
Cheto darpana marjanam bhava mahadavagni nirvapanam.
Cheto Darpana Marjanam Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam.
Shreya Gariva Chandrika Vitalanam Vidya Vadu Jivanam.
Shreya Kairava Chandrika Jivanam.
Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam Pratipadam Purnamrita Svadanam.
Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam Pratipadam Purnamrita Svadanam.
Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam.
Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. Okay, so then we have the word by word meaning you can see here. And of course, this verse is very, very important if we're trying to chant Hare Krishna. Prabhupada puts it right in the introduction. The introduction to the Bhagavatam, which is his life work, a whole mission of our movement. He has he has a little bit of the introduction of the first two verses of the Bhagavatam in the introduction, kind of summarizes those, explains them. Then he has maybe 12 pages or 5 pages or something, which is all of Lord Chaitanya's biography. And I think that's from Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He has different, things like that. And then he puts in the Shikshashtaka. Okay. So very, 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 very important. Shiksha, instructions, Astaka. It's described as the only thing that Lord Chaitanya actually wrote himself, and everything else was compiled by his disciples, especially the 6 Goswamis. Hoy día es inglés, mañana es español. And then some temples have instituted it as a regular function right after, Mangalartik, like that. Yeah. So very, very important. I was looking for any kind of commentaries, and I found on Desire Tree some things have been posted. And there was one by Radhanath Swami making some comments, but it's a transcription of a lecture. I think it was a seminar that was given on the Shikshastika for several days. And the first verse, and a little bit hard to see, very kind of concise organization, because sometimes when you're giving a lecture, you don't, organize things so exactly and stuff. For somebody who's reading, when you're listening to a lecture, you have to listen, to the flow. If you lose the flow even for a moment, then you can, don't know what's happening. But when you're reading, you can read, you can stop, you can go back again, you can look at parts of it, you can take it into your mind, and so on. So it's a different process, reading and listening. And so then you can expose the author to a lot more logical structure, because he has time to stop and then put it in shape in his own intelligence and then go ahead like that, which is nice. And logical understanding, as we're understanding from 7.5.23, is the first step in Shmarnam. So it's very nice to be able to understand the philosophy. Okay. So what I did find out is that these are called by different acharyas as the seven flames of the Sankirtan movement. Like enough linguas, in the fuego, right? Linguas, yeah. And we see here there's 7 divisions in this first verse. Okay. So first it says Chaito Darpana Marjanam. Chaito, of the heart. And Chitta is like consciousness, but it also, in a sense, is the heart. This is a little bit difficult because in English, many times when we say the heart, we mean sentiment, physical sentiment, Girls think with their hearts. Okay, this usually means sentiment. But the actual Sanskrit of intelligence is in the heart. Intelligence is in the heart. So in some consciousness, we may be responding with our body, how we feel about something, but it's how we feel with our whole body, our muscles, our stomach, our all these things. But if we actually go to the heart, and isolate it, then we start coming to chitta, which is intelligence. Okay. So chaita of the heart, darpana, mirror. Now you know how to say mirror, in Sanskrit. Prabhu, aapke paas tilak darpan hai? You have a tilak mirror. Hanji, yes I do. Okay. Marjanam, that's a pretty common word, right? Marjanam, cleaning. Mahaprabho kirtana nritya gita varitra madhyan manasovasena. What's the next one? Romanchakam pashutaranga bhaja bandegroshi charanaravinda. Shivigraha aradhana nityanana shingara tan mandira marjanado. Cleaning the temple, mandira marjana. Decorating the deity, Shivigraha, the deity, Shivigraha Ardana, worshiping. Shivigraha Ardana Nityanana, Nitya eternally, Nana, various Shringara, ornaments, cosas brillantes, ornamentation. So 2 things, we're worshiping the deity by decorating it very beautifully, and then we're Mandira Marjanado, clean the temple. Many times with these Bhakti Shastri programs, Bhakti Bhai Baba, temple presidents complain, well, my people are taking all your classes, but I see no increase in their service. And there's no practical service. And you ask them what they mean. Well, they're not spending more time cleaning the temple and temple service, physical service, cleaning, this kind of stuff. And they're not on the altar more. So their idea is that practical service is the 3rd verse, worshiping the deity and clean the temple. The Prabhupada says, no, the 2nd verse comes first, which is Mahaprabho Kirtana Nritya Gita, that we're engaged in hearing and chanting. And so that's a more valid, more important, more cogent, more salient criticism if after taking these classes on Bhakti Shastri and Bhakti Bhai Baba, people are losing their interest in coming to class and performing kirtan, which happens sometimes. And then the next thing, and Prabhupada says the next thing in the order is then naturally, when you're chanting properly, you want to see the deity, you want to nama rupa, it follows like that. So Cheto, of the heart, Darpana Miranam Marjanam. We're cleansing the temple of our hearts. Okay. Cheto Darpana Marjanam. Bhava Maha, Bhava, Bhava is the emotion, but Bhava, short A, is the material existence. Radharani experiences Maha Bhava. But then Bhava, Srinivas wants to help us with it later on right now. Is that correct? Is it Bhava and Bhava?
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
Okay. And it's just like in the South, many people are named Baba. So maybe it comes from the Sanskrit origin like that. Yeah. Bhava, of material existence. Mahadava Agni. Okay. Sangsara Dava, Sangsara Dava Nala. Yeah. Anala is fire, and Agni is also fire. So it's forest fire. Forest fire. It's a common idea. It's an archetypal idea. Bhava Mahadavagni, Nirvapanam, Nir, not extinguishing. How does that work? How does that word divide? Is it like nirvana?
I didn't think about that. Nirvapanam.
Yeah.
I don't know, Guru Maharaj. I have
Okay.
to.
Yeah. So I think at the end of this class, we're going to have a lot more work to do than when we start.
Yes.
When I was in high school, my teacher, Mr. Leaf, Benjamin Leaf, very nice guy, he said some people say that when you go to college, you go to university to answer your questions. But they say when you come out of the university, you have more questions than when you went in. So somebody may say, well, why should I go to the university then? And he said, that's one of the questions. Yeah. So anyway, after this class, why did I come to this class? I was more confused after I came out than when I went in. Hopefully not more confused, but with more questions, better questions. Okay. Cheta, Dharpana, Marjana, Bhava, Mahadavagni, Nirvapana, extinguishing. Shreya and Preya. Yeah. It was a Preya, I think, is immediate benefit, and Shreya is long-term benefit. Shreya, good. Shreya, Koirava. Here's something very nice. Like you can give somebody the Koirava. Like Sheshika one time was talking about this. He said, if you have the Koirava, what else do you need? It's the white lotus. If you have the white lotus of good fortune, doesn't okay. So people will come and give you money. People will ask you to work in their business. Oh, please work in my business. Please be a receptionist for 3 hours a day, and I'll pay you for 10. Well, all right, I'll come through. Yeah. Shreya Koirava. Yeah, the white lotus of good fortune. Hey, look, buddy. What do you get out of this movement? I get the Shreya Koirava. Chandrika. Now, this is different. Why is this moonshine as opposed to the moon? Chandra is the moon. Then why is it moonshine, Chandrika?
I think it blossoms from the moonshine, Guru Maharaj.
So we have Anyabilasi Ta. Is the same thing happening? Anyabilasi Ta, Chandrika?
No, Guru Maharaj. That is different. That is Anyabilashita. This is Ka, like Gopika.
Yeah. Okay. Shreya, Kairava, Chandrika. Yeah. So because moon is Chandra and Ka, okay, moonshine. Okay. Vitaranam, spreading. Yeah. Difundiendo in Spanish, I think is better. Yeah. Okay. Chetodarpana Marjanam, Baba Mahadav Agni Nirvapanam, Shreya Kairava, Chandrika, Vitaranam. There's one nice book. It's a funny book. A little bit of also. It's funny, and it's also a little bit of like a mystery thing. So it's very attractive. It's a good way to write, and it's a good author, nice author. And he calls it moonbeams, Chandrika, moonbeams from a larger lunacy. Moonbeams from a larger lunacy, which if you speak English, So you see you read the book and okay, that's a little bit odd, and he's saying it's odd because it's coming from a much larger madness, lunacy that I have. Okay. I'm giving all these associations so it's easy to remember. Shreya Koirava, Chandrika Vitarana. It's when you're saying these things, if you know where the verb is and stuff, you say it differently. That's how you pronounce it differently. So you can tell when someone is they know the words, maybe they know the translation, but they don't really know the grammar and the thing like that. And so it's very different when you're saying it like that. Okay, now next, number 4, Vidya. This is of education, right? Vidya, Vadu, wife. Okay, Jivanam. So it is the wife and life of all knowledge, or it is the life of the wife of all knowledge. Mr. Bharati Vidyapit Sanskrit, what do you say?
Guru Maharaj, I think the Vidya becomes wife. So in that sense, it's, subordinate to bhakti.
Okay, so the Vidya becomes a wife. Okay. It sounds like it's being translated backwards here. The wife of all the wife of all education, the education of the wife. Is it more the education of the wife, or is it the wife of education?
It should be the education who is the wife.
The life of the wife that is knowledge. Okay, she's also presenting here. Yale Sanskrit is presenting also. Her suggestion was okay. Yeah, if we're doing this to advance in devotional service, to become free from suffering, and then actually to become good devotees, where we can be free from reducing our sleeping, eating, and recreation. The 6 Goswamis: Nidra, Hara, Vihara, Kadi, Vegeto. Nidra, sleeping; Vihara, I guess is eating. Nidra, Hara, Vihara, Kadi, and enjoy recreation. Different things we do we can learn how to become more and more involved, intensely gratified, getting our eating, recreation, and whatever else it is, sleeping within devotional service, and we feel more satisfied. Prabhupada said, when I have to sleep, I feel like I'm dying. Because he has so many things he wants to do. Okay. So if intellectually learning these things and being able to take them to heart, which should, and organizing what we know, because we can't know everything. Ananda, okay, Vidya Vadu Jivanam, Anandambudi, Ananda, okay, Ambudi, ocean. Vardhanam. I had a friend named Bhadravardhan, one of Krishna's friends. He was a very nice guy. It means expanding, increasing. So Bhadravardhan is auspicious expansion. Yes. Anandambudi Vardhanam, Patipadam, every step. Purna Amrita, full nectar. Okay. Ashvadanam, giving a taste. So what's that word mean? How is that word coming across to?
Guru Maharaj, Anandambudi Vardhanam.
No, Ashvadanam.
Asvadanam. Swadu means very tasteful.
Oh, Swadu. We know that word. Yes, Swadu.
Yes. Yeah. So it is the Swaduness.
Huh?
The ness. So you have Anam, the tastefulness.
So Asvadu.
Yes. It just intensifies. Yeah.
Okay, tastefulness, giving a taste. Is that a good translation?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know who did the word-by-word translations on these. Prabhupada has there's some purports where Prabhupada is giving a commentary on some of these things like that, and so it's interesting. And of course, that's the point when you come to prepositional phrases: to, from, at, with, by, in, on, around. These are among the most difficult to translate, and are very culturally bound. In Spanish, you would say, "Yo era soñando con mi perro," which would literally, in English, "I was dreaming of my dog." But the literal translation would be, "I was dreaming with my dog." Era soñando con mi perro. Yeah. Literal translation would be, "I was dreaming with my dog." Okay. Yeah. But the actual, when English we would say, "I was dreaming of my dog." So these and it's very important too, because it gives a different sense like that. I'd say I was dreaming with my dog in bed. You might have to smell bad, bad flavor. Yes. Okay. Sarvatma snapanam. Snapanam. Snana yatra. Bathing. Snapanam. Bathing the self. Sarvatma snapanam. Then finally there's this the praise. Param Vijayate, Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. When I was researching this, there was one lecture where the devotee was analyzing it. It looked nice, and he said some of these 8 verses are prayers. Give me this, give me that. Okay. And other prayers are just illuminations. The holy names do this, they do that, they're like this, they're like that. Yeah. So it's very nice study here, very fundamental. And of course, this is mentioned in Upadeshamrita, so we can justify it in terms of our Upadeshamrita study guide. Actually, 2 verses from the Shikshastika are mentioned in Upadeshamrita. Does anybody know? For 600 monkey points.
Verse 1 and verse 3, Guru Maharaj.
Okay. Yeah, number 1 is mentioned, Chetodarpana Marjanam, and Tanadapi Sunichena. And so then, those are very important verses. Those are emphasized so much. Lord Chaitanya says you should make a thread out of the verse Tanadapi Sunichena, and on that you should string the holy names and wear it around your neck. So if you go through life with this attitude, Tranadapi Sunichena, Tarori Vasahishnuna, Amanina, Amanadena, Kirtaniya, Sudahari, you'll be extremely successful. So many people are talking about management, they say the same thing. What's the verse in some management? It says, what's it about? Making friends. How to influence people, how to make friends and influence people. I think it's Dale Carnegie. It's one of the most famous books in the history of the world on management. And one of his principles is look for the good qualities in people. He said, not flattering them artificially, but no, look for their good qualities. Many actually other agencies too, but this thing is starting off with Amanina, Manadena. Manadena, looking for other people's good qualities. Amanina, Amanadena. And not expecting anybody to look for your good qualities. If you have that attitude in life, you'll find out that even your biggest enemy likes to hang out with you. Okay. So Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. The translation here. My PowerPoint, my whole computer is messing up. Okay. Chetodarpanam Arjanam Bhava Mahadav Agni Nirvapanam Shreyakaira Vachandrikartam Vidyavadu Jivanam Anandam Mudi Vardhanam Patipadam Purnamrita Swaranam Sarvatma Stapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. Let there be all victory for the chanting of the holy name of Lord Krishna, which one can cleanse the mirror of the heart, Chetodarpana Marjanam, stop the miseries of the blazing fire of material existence, Bhava Maha, Devagni, Nirvapanam, Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam. It is the waxing moon that spreads the white lotus of good fortune for all living entities. Shreya Kairava Chandrika. Vidya Vadu Jivanam. It is the life and soul of all education. This is the translation from Caitanya Caritamrita, Antya Lila, last chapter. And you see that the translations, it's like they become more mature. There may be translations in the first canto, second canto, and then beginning. But it's like as we go on, they're more mature because the translators are learning Sanskrit, probably getting better in the English. Yeah. Vidyavadu Jivanam. Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam expands the blissful ocean of transcendental life. It gives a cooling effect to everyone. Okay. Sarvatma Snapanam. Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam Patipadam Purnamrita Svaranam. This is very strange translation because it says it gives a cooling effect to everyone. Yeah. Okay. Sarvatma Snapanam Param. You see. Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam Patipadam Purnamrita Svaranam. Okay. So it looks like here they're reversed. Patipadam Purnamrita Svaranam. Sarvatma Snapanam. Oh, Sarvatma Snapanam. Wait. Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam Patipadam Purnamrita Svaranam. Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam Patipadam Purnamrita Svaranam. Sarvatma Snapanam. Yeah. So they're reversed, no? Mr. Chief Guest, are they reversed? Patipadam.
Yes, Anandam Mudivardhanam Patipadam Purnam. Sarvatma Snapanam is the cooling effect.
Okay.
Yes. There's no, yeah.
They are reversed. Yeah. Okay. This is important to know. Okay. So, that's kind of looking at it step by step. Now maybe we can try and look at it by the effects. So Rupa Goswami in the Nectar of Devotion. Now Bhaktivinoda Thakur has he wrote a commentary on this on my research this morning. This is when I get up early, you can do these things. His book is called something. I can't find it here. Okay. Not Forbidden Archaeology. Okay, somewhere else. Yeah. Something to I have it in my other notebook. Yeah. But he has. I finally researched it out there. But it's some kind of Sanskrit. I haven't got it with me. Anyway, it'll come back. So he has a commentary he wrote on it on the Shikshastika, and it's kind of very broad. Like he's taking the things about Chetodarpana Marjanam and talking about what is material nature and what is sense gratification. So it doesn't go through it in very, very intense format like that. But it seems like one research tool. And I found a translation. So I guess I should tweet that or include it in here, like that. Okay, that worked. What else we got here? Okay, but then this is where I was trying to work on this and I wasn't able to get it done. But there are 6 results of devotional service described by Rupa Goswami in Nectar of Devotion in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. The Prabhupada mentions them, I guess, somewhere either in the introduction or the first chapters. So what are the first 2 results that come from sadhana bhakti?
Dal Rupa. The Kleshagni and Shubhada. It extinguishes the miseries and it brings auspiciousness.
Kleshagni and Shubhada. Yeah. So, but all this, it says all this is happening, all this suffering is happening, which is a long section description, this suffering, Kleshagni, because of avidya. So what's the first activity here? It removes the avidya. Number 1, cleanses the heart of ignorance like that. So the same thing is happening. It's a description of what happens when you chant. The first thing, avidya is gone, and as a result of that, kleshagni goes away. Okay, then everything not only becomes free from suffering, it becomes auspicious. No longer do you not hate your job, but you begin to like your job. No longer hate your family, but you should like your family. You begin to like your sister-in-law. It's like you. That's a big one. Okay. Yeah. So that's the third one, no? Expands the load of the white, lotus of good fortune. Okay. Now, the next thing is to try and go on with this and see if they match up. It's Vidyavadu Jivanam. But this is not, Prabhupada says that knowing how to make cabinets and how to cook food and build architecture and all these things, he said that is not actually knowledge. He said that is shilpa. It's a livelihood. So when talking about vidya, we're talking about jnana, and even more intense. So also the commentaries says the same thing here, that this kind of knowledge we're talking about is a higher kind of knowledge. It's more like maybe at this point everything becomes auspicious. Then we begin to actually understand our swarup. Now, of course, where's it go? Doshrada, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivritti. Well, we got Anartha Nivritti here. Nishta, become fixed. Nishta. Ruchi. So we get knowledge coming. Okay. Then it expands the blissful ocean of spiritual life. Okay. Enables one to taste full nectar at every step. And finally, there's a bathing effect. So in my trying to understand it here, I don't know if I can do this now or not. I will try. For some reason, I'm having a problem with loading database.com. But here we have it. Okay. Nectar, I have offline here, which Srinivas gave us. It's not here. Okay, it's the next text. Text number 8. Knowledge is of two kinds. Either you know something by memory or you know where to find it. Okay. Okay. Oh. Okay. Srila Bhakti, this is text and Upadeshamrita, text number 8. Tanamarupa charitade sitapia sutkirtana nushmityo kramena rasana manasi yojan tishtan varajay tadanaragi jananagami kalam nayara kalinda dukta sharp. Okay. Bhakti Siddhanta says what Thakur has commented as follows on this verse. This is the Anuvritti. One who has not yet developed interest in Krishna consciousness should give up all material motives and train his mind. So that's in our commentary, which should be published within the next few days. For critical review. It seems strange because you have no interest in Krishna consciousness, then why should you give up material things? But this where here the word interest is if one has no actual taste for it. If out of fear you want to take to Krishna consciousness, or out of logic you want to take to Krishna consciousness, okay, then you should give up material motives and one by one and train your mind to follow the progressive regular principles. Okay. This way you should move to Vrindavan. Okay. So down here, then when it comes into all these dashanas, Shravana Dasha, what else we got? Varna Dasha. Okay. When one attains this stage, he becomes attached to the hearing of Krishna consciousness. When one is able to chant in ecstasy, he attains the stage Smarna, Smaranavastha. Okay. Which is Smarna. Now, smarnam is the same as meditation. They talk about meditation and we talk about smarnam. It's the same thing. And now, hearing, okay, you hear. And after you've heard for a while, then you start to repeat it to tell people. And when you repeat it, then you realize, well, I didn't hear everything. I have to go back. So by telling people things, talking about it, then you go back, somebody asks you a question, so you get it helps you improve your smarnam. When you perfect your smarnam, then you can perfect your shravanam. When you perfect your shravanam, then you can perfect your kirtanam. And when you start chanting properly and teaching it properly, then you can start to really contemplate it. And we're saying the first one is a logical understanding. And there is a kind of ecstasy when you connect these things up and you go, oh, ooh, ah, ah, ee, prabhu, yeah, that connects with this. Oh, you're right. Oh, wow. Yeah, so there's already then some ecstasy. Okay. So in the stage of when one can chant in ecstasy, you would change the stage of Smarna Avastha. And it doesn't mean that tears are coming from your eyes like torrents of rain. and your hands are separating from your body by 6 inches, and yeah, okay, what else? Your teeth are falling out. No. It just means that maybe you got a nice understanding of it and a good perspective, and it starts to be so satisfying. Then, this is nice. Okay, the stage of remembering: recollection, absorption, meditation, constant remembrance, and trance are the 5 progressive items of Krishna Smarana. Okay. At first, okay, remembrance, Smaranam of Krishna is interrupted. Okay, interrupted. Now this sounds like we're not talking about at every step. You know, pratipadam. What is it? Pratipadam, Purnamrita Svaranam. Okay, so now we're talking about uninterrupted. So this matches up with the Shikshastika in the sense that this is one of the benediction. You're chanting, and finally comes Prabhupada says, you know, sometimes you're remembering Krishna, sometimes you're not remembering Krishna. But then after a while, you've got a schedule where 24 hours a day, you've got service. And especially worshiping the deity is very natural for this. If somebody else is going on book distribution for a certain time, and a certain time if you schedule to take prasad at a certain time, take a break, and maybe after every hour you stop and chant 1 round, you know, get your consciousness together. Yeah. So then you have a regular schedule. At that point, you're always remembering Krishna, Krishna's service, Krishna's name, like that. So pratipadam purnamrita svaranam. Okay. Yeah. Okay. When remembrance is uninterrupted, it becomes concentrated. Okay. Anandam buddhi vardhanam pratipadam purnamrita svaranam. Okay. Sarvatma snapanam. So maybe this is the concentrated. Okay. It's called meditation. When meditation expands, anandam buddhi vardhanam. Yeah. So it seems to match up here. Now, of course, this takes more work of looking at it, and the order is different. When meditation is called meditation. Now, these words you got to match up with the previous words right in this list here. So all this work for we German mentality people, analytical people, computer programmers, to go ahead and in this particular section, you know, match up the first place. Okay. Where is it here? Varna. Okay. Okay. These are the 5 items of Krishna Smarana. Okay. Now these need to be matched up with the next list down here. A nice graphic. No, each name will probably giving a little explanation of each one. Then we have to submit it to Mother Urmila so she can give us the original reference, which we have in our Tapapache, our comments. You know, I think it's in Namachintamani. And then you see, okay, these are the levels, and how am I doing? And you, oh yes, I'm actually doing that. It's actually happening. Well, that's what's next. Oh, okay, well, it happens sometime. Oh, okay, I'm on the path. This helps me stay on the path. Yeah, because okay. So we're talking about meditation expanding. Anandam buddhi vardhanam. We're talking about constant remembrance, pratipadam. Okay, and sarvatma snapanam. Okay, it becomes concentrated. Okay. But then we go back to what by uninterrupted and unceasing anushmriti, one enters the stage of samadhi or spiritual trance. After samadhi has fully developed, the soul comes to understand his original constitutional position. At that time, he can perfectly and clearly understand his eternal relationship with Krishna. This is called sampati dasha, the perfection of life. Okay. Now, going through this again and again, which gives results, I think here it's not talking about prema. I think here it's talking about bhava. What do you think of that thesis, Mr. Chief Guest?
So this Sampati Dasha is bhava, Guru Maharaj?
That's what I'm thinking, because of course, you know, distinguishing between bhava and prema is also sometimes there's no distinction because you know, it's basically almost the same thing. It's a mango, you know, but it's just not ripe. So it's the same words used. Because in the level of bhava, then the final anarthas are removed, right? And anartha nivritti. This is like taking a piece of gold and washing it with detergent, soap, sterilizing it. It's going to be completely clean. But you can see that there's different gray streaks in it and red streaks. And why is that?
There's some contaminations.
Well, not contamination in this case. It's alloyed. It's an alloy. You know?
Yeah.
Steel is an alloy of iron. Yeah. Iron is a pure element, but if you put some carbon into it, you get steel. It's much stronger and harder. Yeah, because the carbon's in there, that the steel can't slide so easily. You know, it's like taking a piece of paper or something, and it moves very easily across the table. But if you toss some grains of sand on it, then it can't move so easily. Yeah. So same way, if you get some carbon with the iron, get an alloy, it becomes much more brittle, harder. Well, it'll support a finer edge. You can also alloy it with other elements like molybdenum or titanium or stuff like that too. Okay. So this is what happens is, it's clean. An Antya basically, it's clean. Externally, you're not going to contaminate anybody else. You're not going to get contaminated. But in the heart, there are still subtle attachments. And those won't come out until we come to the level of bhava. At the level of bhava, we melt the gold. The gold actually melts and it starts to bubble. Okay. At that point, all the different other elements come out, and now it's completely pure golden color. Okay. So that's what I'm thinking now. Maybe that's what it's talking about. When it's talking about, everybody is bathed, because that's the bath where the Atma is getting bathed in this whole thing. It's not the mind being bathed anymore, but the Atma is being bathed. At that point, is bhava. And bhava, yes, at that time, he can perfectly and clearly understand his eternal relationship with Krishna. And this is the way it's talked about in bhava, that at the point of bhava, you understand your swarup. But it's not fully mature, so you don't engage it. Well, I'm a cow. I'm supposed to give milk. My name is Clarabelle. Yeah. But when you're fully awake, then you're doing your service again. It's like the stage where you know who you are, kind of, but it's just you're not quite enough awake to start doing your job. Okay, yeah. Trivikram Swami said when he was in the Navy, they trained them in the ships to do. They built reflexes in them. You saw what was going, a lot of mental training. Because when you're in a battle, and people are shooting shells at you and they're blowing up and everything's going off, you can't really just kind of think about it. So they would 1 o'clock in the morning, there would be tossed smoke grenades into their rooms, and the whole ship would suddenly burst to the right, and there would be loud sounds smashing off, and the siren for battle stations would go off, and they would his job, for example, you would jump up, climb over other people, have your life jacket on, go down the stairs, and you set it halfway down the stairs, the ship goes to the right, starboard, and because you're holding on, you're not tossed off of the gangway, off the ladder, but your feet are flying out in the middle of the air. Yeah. And funny, it's going on, it's tossing left and right, everything else, noise, smoke, fire. Suddenly you're in your seat, and the guy is screaming at you, elevator up, elevator up. And you're saying, ram back. Okay, elevator up, ram forward, ram back. Close the breech closed, ready to fire. You've got to raise the shell, you've got to ram it inside, you've got to pull the ram out, you've got to close the breech, you've got to target, and you fire. So everybody knew their position, everybody knew everybody else. It was so amazing how tight you got with everybody else, when your life may depend upon it. So that's learning, that's knowledge. That's a different kind of knowledge which somebody in the university may never get, but sailors who may not even be so bright or anything else, they may realize, you can know things. This guy doesn't know really what he's talking about. He knows it superficially, okay, but he hasn't really taken it to heart. So anyway, that's kind of our look right now, our current level of investigation of the Shikshashtaka by Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu. So Mr. Chief Guest, what do you think?
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. This is very, very useful. Going back and connecting with the nectar of instruction, it's very nice to study like this. These 5 stages is still something I'm not fully clear on what's going on, Guru Maharaj. One thing that came out today is when you read, I think it said Anusmriti, one of the words in the 5 stages. And I was thinking, I think Prabhupada says uninterrupted, repeat uninterrupted meditation, it becomes constant. So we have this word anudinam, and also anuga, like rupa anuga. Anu is used in two meanings. One is to follow behind, and also in the sense of repetition. Like anudinam means every day. Kintva darad anudinam kalusaiva justa. So if we repetitively, every day do it. So seems Anusmriti is repetitive smriti, which breaks that interruption in between. So when you are explaining, that's one thing that I realized today about one of the stages here.
Anu means atomic also, doesn't it?
Yes, Guru Maharaj, Anu and Vibhu, small and big, yeah.
Yeah. So it also means Anushmriti means very. How's it go? Another word there too. It's dukkha dosh anudarshanam. It means but very careful, very close. No, yeah. Anudarshanam, atomic vision. Yeah.
That's a different. Yeah. That's a different word, na Gurudeva. It is anu, that is anu. Nu, like means basically. That's a different consonant, Gurudeva. I think is it not? Am I missing it? Anu is basically it's completely a different word than anu. Kana,
okay.
Kana, anu, Kana, Gana, anu. These are all like a different one at the end of it, Gurudeva. I felt it that way.
How's it go? Let's go to Janma, Mritya, Jaravyadi, Dukkha Dosh, Anudarshanam. Yeah.
So Guru Maharaj, there is a na, like there are many nasal sounds. Yeah. So this is a retroflex na. Anu is a retroflex, which means small, tiny. That meaning is the retroflex one. And whereas this anu is a dental anu, anudinam and anusmriti. Maharaj, I think you're talking, but we cannot hear you. I don't know if others are able to.
I was just moving my lips, but producing no sound.
So in dukkha doshanu darshanam, let's see what was that. What's that word? Is it anudarshanam or anudarshanam? It is anudarshanam. So it is more like I think seeing by following in the footsteps, Guru Maharaj, there the meaning.
Yeah. So careful. Yeah, following. Yeah, once you have a, but in the sense of careful. What's it? Anudarshanam, dukkha dosha anudarshanam. Yeah. Something almost so constant, uninterrupted. Anyway, actually, I have to go because I have to join the board of examiners now, like that. And we're trying to make examinations. I feel about maybe 40% of my ideas are being accepted by the board of examiners and how we should, be examining our education. But that's a lot more than nothing. So, and also, if 40% of your good ideas are accepted now, and I've also realized that not all my ideas are good, but if 40% of your ideas are accepted, okay, that means that after some time, that they're good ideas amongst good people, they'll start to come out like that and so on. And that's something I'm realizing is that don't get frustrated because people don't understand everything you're trying to say right away, even if they understand part of it. And you realize they are nice people, but it's just that somehow or other they're not understanding what you're saying. Okay, then you see that later on they'll think about it, it'll out, and sometimes it comes out and they think it was their idea. You can see that, no, that was something I tried to bring up 2 weeks ago, and now this person's been considering it, it's coming out. Okay, so this is a very, very nice project. I want to continue with this. This is in, I can say this PowerPoint show is a part of our Diary of a Traveling Creature. And then I can just cut these things out and put them into separate files and stuff, hopefully, and organize them like that. Yeah. So I want to thank everybody for your association, and please chant Hare Krishna and take prasadam when you're tired. Haribol!
Thank you very much, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Gurudeva.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna,
Thank you,
gracias. Hare Krishna, Gurudev. Gracias a vosotros.
Gracias, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.